Hello guys, welcome to another video here on TryHackMe on the advent of Cyber 2024, and this is day 2. It's on log analysis. It's titled one man's false positive is another man's potpourri, something like that. Now what's the story? It's the most wonderful time of the year again, and it's almost the most stressful day for Walesville Security Operations Center SOC team. Despite the overwhelming alerts generated by the new and noisy rules deployed, Wareville's SOC analysts have been processing them non-stop to ensure the safety of the town. However, the SOC analysts are now burning out of all the workload needed before Christmas. Numerous open cases are still pending. There are a lot of alerts trooping in and so on. Okay, so now they need help. So help the awesome warehouse SOC team analyze the alerts to determine whether the rumor is true that mayor malware is instigating chaos within the town. Okay, in a SOC, which is a security operations center, events from different devices are sent to the SIEM. You might ask, what is SIEM? This is where our Echo AI tool can come in handy. You can just type here what is SIEM. Okay, you ask what's the SIEM, and let's see what it says. It stands for Security Information and Event Management. It's a system that aggregates and analyzes security data from various sources within an organization to detect and respond potential security threats. Okay, so this is a system that brings all together, analyzes security data from various sources. Okay, now in this scenario, the SOC team are trying to know which of these alerts are true and which of them are false. So now certain rules like the detection engineering rules are defined to identify malicious or suspicious activities from these events. Now if an event or set of events fulfill the condition of a rule, it triggers an alert. Okay, now a SOC analyst then analyzes this alert to identify if the alert is a true positive or a false positive, which is the case. Now an alert is considered a true positive if it contains actual malicious activity. On the flip side, if the alert triggers because of an activity that is not actually malicious, it is considered a false positive. This might seem very simple in theory, but practically separating the two is a very tedious job, so it can sometimes become very confusing to differentiate between an attacker and a system administrator. Now, trying to make this decision is quite tedious, and you need to consider some things, and we have a few pointers to guide us. One is using the SOC superpower. The SOC superpower is more like when they are unaware or when they are unsure whether an activity is performed by a malicious actor or a legitimate user. They can just confirm with the user by just contacting that user and be like, okay, are you the one that made this this order, or trying to confirm if the process was set up by a specific person they know. Now in context, let's say, while it might seem like using the SOC superpower makes things super easy, that is not always the case. There are cases where which can act as a kryptonite to the SOC superpower. If an organization doesn't have a change request process in place, the performed activity was outside the scope of the change request, or was different from that of the approved change request, the activity triggered an alert, such as copying files to a certain location, uploading a file to some website, or a failed login to a system. Now an insider threat performed an activity they are not authorized to perform, whether intentionally or unintentional. Now a user performed the malicious activities via social engineering from a threat actor. These are more of the context where using the SOC superpower, which is trying to make a confirmation from whoever is supposed to make this change management, to confirm if they are the one doing it. Next is correlation. Yes, correlation. When when building the contest, the analyst must correlate different events to make a story or a timeline. Correlation entails using the past and future events to recreate a timeline of events when performing correlation. It is important to note down certain important artifacts that can be used to connect dots. These important artifacts can include IP address, machine names, usernames, hashes, files, and file paths, etc. Now, is this a true positive or a false positive? Similar to every SOC, the analysts in the WebView SOC also needed to differentiate between a true positive or a false positive. This becomes especially difficult for them near Christmas, when the analysts face alert fatigue, more like a huge influx of alerts coming in, high chances of misclassification of true positives into false positives, and vice versa are present in such times. Now, the analysts therefore appreciate any help they could get from us in this crucial time to make matters. To make matters worse, the office of the mayor has sent the analysts an alert informing them of multiple encoded PowerShell commands run on their systems. Perhaps we can help with that. Okay. Now, for this room, or for this day, we're going to check our connection details here. Are we needing an attack box today? No. Do I need to start a virtual machine today? Yes. Is there a split screen? No. Is there a direct link available? Yes. Am I giving credential to connect directly to virtual machine via RDP? No. So more like we just need the virtual machine and we have a direct link to use that. So without further ado, I'm going to start the machine. It might take a couple of minutes to just I think about 1 minute to start. Once it's ready, it will activate this link and we can be able to kick off. Okay. Now, once the machine is up and running, we can connect to Elastic SIEM. This is the system we're going to use to analyze the data, and by visiting the link, it's going to be ready once the machine is ready in our browser. And the detail is a username Elastic and password Elastic. So let's wait for that to be ready. I believe once it's ready, it's going to appear right here on the top in 26 seconds. Okay, let's see. I believe it's ready, and that's why this link is now available. I'm just going to click on this, and whatever was here, I'm just going to walk through it directly on that SIEM website page, and we can go from there. So once I click on this, right, so that's working. Let's see here. So it's loading Elastic, and once it's ready, let's see what we can help the SOC team do. Okay, so we have the login page, and the username is Elastic, and the password is the same thing, Elastic, and we can log in. Don't save. Now, once we are logged in into the page, and once it's done loading, what we need to do is to click on the options tab here. Let me increase the font here a little bit. So we just come over here to the top left side here and click on these 3 dashes, and we want to click on discover. Okay, discover. Once you click on discover, it loads this page for us. Now we want to select a specific time frame, and what was given to us is December the 1st, from 9 a.m. to about 9:30 a.m. and what we need to do is to click on this last 15 minutes and click on that again. We want to select absolute. Once we select absolute, we come to December the 1st, and then also the time we want to select 9 a.m. okay, 9 a.m. so December 1st 2024 at 9 a.m. Up until select absolute December the 1st 2024, and we want till 9:30 a.m. and then we click update, so it will load. Okay, from what we can see here, we've got 21 hits. Okay, we got 21 hits, which is, we have data about 21. And but if you look here, we can't even make sense of the data we see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a column to use some important data on what we need. You can see here it says agent name, agent type, and so on. So we're going to add this by selecting the field names, and it's going to set up that that particular column, making it easier for us to read. Okay, so the first thing we might want to use is the host name, where the command was run. So we can come here and type host.hostname, and we can come over to it. Over it you can see the plus sign, and we can add plus. Now you begin to notice the change. Now we're beginning to get the list. We have the time, and then we have the host name. So we can continue. What else do we need? We need the username, the user who performed this activity. We can add them, or add that user by using user.name. This is it here. From over here we can add plus. Okay, we're getting we're getting somewhere. So the next thing we might want to add also is the event category. This field to ensure we are looking at the correct event category. Okay, so we say event dot category cat, and that's it. So come here and add plus. So we're getting the event category if it was a process or an authentication. Okay, and also we want to also know the actual command that was run. What happened, what command was run in this particular event. We can do this by typing process and then dot something like that's command line. Yes, command line. So come over here and hit plus. Okay, so we can see here now that this looks like a PowerShell command that was run, and it's encoded. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Lastly, for now, we can now add one more field here. We can add to see if this process or this command was successful or not. And for us to do that, we can just type the event here, event.outcome. Okay, event.outcome. If we hover our link here, we'll add plus, and voila. Now this is a table that we can make more research and analysis on. Okay, so from here we had 21 hits, and we're able to see that the user was service admin, and this was run on multiple warehosts, as you can see here. Basically, someone ran some encoded PowerShell command multiple times on multiple machines. Okay, another thing to note here is that before each execution of the PowerShell command, we can see the authentication event was successful. Okay, so authentication successful, then the person ran the process. Authentication successful, then the person ran the process. On warehouse 9, on warehost 8, you see authentication successful, and then the person ran the process. Okay, now this activity is observed individually on each machine, and the time difference between the log and the PowerShell command looks very precise. Okay, between 9 minutes after 9:42 seconds and 10 minutes after 9:34 seconds, the difference between this and this is the same. Okay, on asking, the analyst informed us that the account is used by 2 administrators who were not in the office when the activity was occurred. So we're trying to understand that the 2 people that handled this were not around when these activities occurred. So something is fishy. So we need to know where this whole activity was coming from. So we can add a source IP. We can add another feed to know where the IP is coming from, and to do that we can come over here and type the source IP address. So source.ip, and we can now add this. Once we add this, we can now generate and see the IP address. We can see it was coming from 10.0.11.11, correct? Yeah. Okay, now since the source IP feed is already available for the authentication event, it's only available for the authentication event. You can notice it's only available for the authentication event here. Something we can filter out the process event to see if there is a pattern. To do that, we can hover our mouse over here to the event category here. Okay, once we overhit there, what we want to filter it by, we want to click on the plus sign. We want to filter it by the authentication. Okay, not the process, the authentication. So if I click on this plus sign, it says filter for value. All right, so once you click on that, okay, so it only filters for the authentication. Now since the result does not give us a useful insight, let's remove this. And once we remove it, we can do that by clicking X. Once you click on X, and that takes that out. Okay, so that's out already. Okay, since the time frame we previously used was for the PowerShell event, and the authentication event might have been coming from before, all right, maybe a few hours or a few days before that particular PowerShell event. So what we can do is to expand the time, and the given time frame for us was to go back to as far back as November the 29th. Okay, so what we're going to do is to click over here and go back to November and go to November the 29th and set it to 12 a.m. okay, 12 a.m. and then we can leave this as it is, and then we can click on updates. Okay, once you click on updates, now we have more hits. We have more hits, about 6,814 hits, but in this situation we can notice there's a difference in activities. Everything looks normal here until a huge spike over here on the 1st of December. Okay, now to further understand the event further, let's filter this by username with the service admin. So, and we also filter it by the source IP with the 10.0.11.11, so let's things make sense. Okay, now to filter it by the service admin, let's filter it by the user. So between this whole 6,814, I want to see what this username service admin did, so we could filter it by that. We click on plus sign on that particular username, so we're filtering by this. Okay, and then we can also filter by that source IP address to see when this IP address started using that service admin to run some activities. So we can come over here, not on this place, on this one, and filter it by the source IP. Okay, once we did that, we notice now that we have about 5,702 hits. Wow, something is fishy still, right? It looks like all the events have been coming from the same user and the same IP address. We definitely need to investigate further. If you scroll down, you can see there were some success and there are some failure here. So usually it means that there might have been like a brute force attempt. Now a brute force attempt looks like a password spraying attempt, you trying to try different password to log in into something. It's continuously using different password to see the one that works, but it happens fast. That's more like a brute force attack. But if you scroll down here, you would see there were lots of failures before, and then all of a sudden there was a success. Okay, all of a sudden there was a success. So now, so we need to further investigate and see. Let's filter by authentication, right? This explains the spike we had when doing the December 1st. So let's filter again by authentication. At the same time, then we can remove the IP address. This is done by minusing this IP address here and then adding plus. First, let's add the plus sign for authentication here. All right, let's give it a couple of seconds. Once we've done that, then we can now minus the IP address. Okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. Now we have minus that, we now got an IP address that is different from the one we saw before, 10.0.255.1. From what we see now, we're able to understand, and if we scroll down a little bit, you see there was a success here after so many failures, which also shows there were some attempts for brute force attack. Okay, and the first login was into the admin 01. Okay, it was to admin 01, the host name, and there were failures before that success. Okay, over about 1,100 hits on that. Okay, now scrolling down, we can see the events for failed logins. We can also see the IP address was ending in 10.0.255.1, differs from the one we saw previously. Now, the analyst has previously investigated this and found that a script with expired credentials was causing this issue. However, that script was updated with a fresh set of credentials. So we're going to filter by authentication event close to the spike. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove let me see here. We're going to remove this source IP address, and we're just going to leave the filter for the admin, which is the username, and the authentication. Okay, so we're back to 6,802, and with this now we can be able to see when we scroll back up, okay, there were failures here before success here. Okay, failure here before success here. So there was a switch after there was a success here on 10.0.255.1. we now started brute forcing again on 10.0.11.11. you notice the difference now. Okay, so there were failures for so many failures for 10.0.255, so many failures from brute force, right? Then we got a success. Once we got the success, the person started using another IP address to start brute forcing again. Okay, and when the person did that, we successfully got another success around here. Okay, and when the person got the success, the person remained on that 10.0.11.11. all right, and also we also need to notice that all this brute force attack was now done on the December the 1st, right? December the 1st. Okay, furthermore, we need to now check out that particular command that was run. We want to see that particular code that was run. So let's filter this off a little bit again, filter this out as well. Okay, now we're back here. So we want to check out this code, the process. This was exactly what was run. Okay, this was run, and we can filter by process if we want. So let's just filter by process. If we filter by process, now we only have this particular codes that was run 12 times here. It was run admin twice, and then it was run on where host 1 to 10. Now the encoded command is basically a base 64, but let's say you don't know, you can actually use the echo to check and confirm. Now on this particular room, what was used was cyberchef, I believe. Cyberchef was what was used, but I like to use what we call a base 64 decode. Yes, base 64 decode encode online. This is what I usually use, and yes, this is when I did it earlier, I had it set to UTF-16 LE. Okay, that was what the decode test was set to. So in encoding it, we also need to use that to encode it as well. So I'm going to just paste this particular encoded base 64, and then I'll hit on decode, and you see it says install window update, install Windows update, accept all, auto reboot. Now this doesn't look like a malicious thing, right? It looks like this person is trying to protect us. Now from our story here, is the person which is glitch, is the person a hero or a traitor? Okay, so in this case now, I figured is the person is trying to protect us by hacking into the machine, and then encoded these things, and it's trying to allow us to update the machine and then reboot it. This is more like a protecting thing, it's not malicious. Okay, That being said, we can now go ahead and start answering some of these questions. What is the name of the account causing all the failed login attempts? And from what we have here previously, we already know it's the service admin. Service admin is what has been causing that particular thing. So we're going to copy service_admin and then type that in. Okay, so service_admin and then submit. Okay, that answers that. How many failed login attempts were observed? Okay, now if we want to check for the failed login attempts, I'm going to take this off and I'm going to add the filter by let it load. Once it loads, so I'm going to filter it by authentication and then the event success, the event outcome to be failed instead of success. I'll filter it by authentication. All right, event authentication, event category authentication. Now I want to see, let me click for success first. Okay, now when I click on this, I can, let me see if I can edit filter. I want this for failure instead. All right, and hit save. Okay, so we got 6,791. 6,791. So we'll filter by authentication and then by failure 6,791. So we'll try that, 6,791, and then we'll hit submit. Now what is the IP address of glitch? IP address of glitch. So we filter by authentication. Let me close this by failure. I want let's see, the first IP address is, let me see here. Okay, let's see, not this IP address. I'll edit this filter and is not this IP address. I'll save that and see. All right, that's the IP address, 10.0.255.1. okay, 10.0.255.1, 10.0.255.1. hit submit. Okay, okay, what's the next question here? The question here says, when did glitch successfully log on to admin-01? So how do we filter this now? We want a successful authentication to admin.01. It was actually, this actually might be it, but we want to filter this by success as well. Okay, and here we go. So it was December the 1st 2024 at 8:54:39. okay, 8:54:39. let me see if I can copy that, if it works. Just paste this here and then be able to, okay, yes. So December the 1st, 2024. I'll remove this at, and it's 8 hours 54 minutes 39 seconds. So let's hit submit and see. That's correct. Okay, now what is the decoded command executed by glitch to fix the system of Wareville? And that is what we have here. This is the decoded command. You can use cyberchef, or you can use base64decode.org. that's what I used. So if I come back here, I'll paste that here, hit submit, and that's it. And lastly, if you enjoyed this task, feel free to check out the investigating with ELK 101 room, and to learn more about investigating basically. So I'll complete the room here, and that's that for day 2 for the advent of cyber 2024. Thank you guys for studying with me and learning with me. I'll see you guys for day 3, and make sure you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, ciao.